Alright, at this point what we're going to do is we're going to start sculpting. Let's go ahead and go into sculpt mode, and let's go ahead and scrape. Let's go ahead and scrape away, that's not powerful enough. Let's go 1, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Just going to do a little bit of this, since it's for a tutorial. It's going to be really ugly. My sculpting skills in reality are quite a lot better than this. I'm also using a mouse, which I do not suggest doing. You have to get a tablet if you're going to start sculpting regularly. It really is worth the money. That's all I can say. It'll up your quality 10 times without doing anything other than buying the tablet. Another thing is, just because I'm doing this in Blender, just because sculpting is available in Blender, does not mean it's a real acceptable alternative for ZBrush, because this is really bare bones options, and it's more so just for very basic sculpting. The end of its usefulness is pretty quick, basically, is what I'm trying to say. With ZBrush you can do virtually anything. If you don't have the money, another good option, still costs some money, is 3D Coat. 3D Coat is a good option. They also have really awesome texture painting stuff from what I hear. Another good option is Sculpting. That's free, and it's a lot better than Blender. I'm trying to keep this local to Blender. That way we can hit the biggest audience possible with that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not very articulate right now because I'm trying to do a quick sculpt here. Okay. And just so you guys know, this is not really acceptable sculpt, but it should do the trick for what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'll add some stuff. Let's go and cut in deep. The side here, maybe. Just shave that away. Shave this away too. Have a nice cut in there, maybe another one up here. Make it smaller. Make it smaller. Can't really speak. Maybe not. Maybe make it bigger. No. Seems like it's stubborn up here. Let's go to just a regular brush. Just control, do the opposite. Yes, okay, so if you want to cut into the mesh, hit control, you'll dig in. Alright, now let's go ahead and go back over to crunch this in. Doesn't hurt to smooth things a bit too every now and then, just to keep that topology nice and fluid. Alright, I think we have a pretty good start. Yeah, I think that's good enough to show what a normal map does. Alright, while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to go to where I want to save my file. I'm going to call it brick. Alright, now let's go ahead and go to object mode, I believe. Yes, let's go to object mode. And actually, hold on. Back to sculpt mode real quick. I have some artifacting here. It's okay, it's a tutorial, so. Okay, so now we have our high poly mesh. Looks awesome. We're ready to create our low poly. And so what we're going to want to do before doing anything else is we're going to want to duplicate this mesh. You can do that by pressing Shift D and then right clicking, and so it doesn't move. Then click M, and let's select the second layer. So now what we have is we have this mesh on another layer. Now we come back here and click our high poly, and let's go ahead and export it. And we're going to export it as an OBJ because really is just the best option, because ZBrush likes OBJ, and a lot of other programs besides game engines really like OBJs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this HP underscore brick as in high poly underscore brick, and the reason why you do that isn't so when you're looking through your folder and you're looking for a high poly, it's already somewhat alphabetized. You can find your high poly, and it just adds some categorization, and it's really helpful. You can actually do this several times over. You can also do low poly as an LP. You can also do BM for base mesh. That's what I do. It allows it to sort it alphabetically, and I can find things a lot easier when projects are getting big. So I'm going to go ahead and export the OBJ. And so our high poly is exported. At this point, let's go ahead and apply this. Now we're going to add another modifier, and it's called a decimation, or decimate modifier. What this does is it basically reduces the amount of polygons without reduces the amount of polygons while trying to hold the silhouette the same. Let's go ahead and unsubdivide, and let's do it a few times. We have our face count up here, so let's keep an eye on that. We are going to want something in the realm of under 1,000, but it may not work. 737, see, that looks a bit too low, so I might go with 1,500's too high for a game asset, but well, for a brick as a game asset, generally you're going to want something pretty low, but this will just one iteration higher just looks really terrible. So I'm going to stick with 6 iterations at a 1412 poly count. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. At this point, we have our low poly, and let's go ahead and tab and just see our geometry, and see this is really bad geometry. All this stuff in here doesn't need to be here. All this stuff doesn't need to be here. All this stuff doesn't need to be here. That is why generally you're going to want to manually retopologize. That's in other tutorials, and I'm not going to do that in this one because it would take way too long. I might do a separate tutorial for it. But that is how you make a low poly mesh really fast. Alright, so in the next tutorial what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to UV map this mesh.